What's up, everybody? I hope everything's going good wherever you happen to live. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at Vaush and his tweet aimed at Joanne. That's J.K. Rowling, by the way. Rowling, who knows? But the amount of filth dripping off that, I do not like it. It is so condescending and pretentious. Listen, Joanne. Joanne, do you mean like one of the best-selling authors ever? If not the best-selling author, like next to the Bible? This person will go down in history. This is not just Joanne you're talking about, but of course he says that. Listen, Joanne, you don't get to play the victim. Well, this is what happened anyways on International Women's Day. J.K. Rowling tweeted out something. They got into this back and forth, and it ended with Vaush saying, "Women, be quieter and start apologizing" challenge. He's saying that to women who have a problem with men being in their spaces. Women, shut up and just accept the fact that men with penises are now going to be in your spaces. Absolutely insane. What you and your ilk fail to appreciate is how tediously familiar I find your tactics. I had a violent ex-husband who used to tell me life would be great if only I'd comply. But you're making the same mistake he did. Women like me can't be bullied out of resistance. And it's crazy that women who stand up against this are called TERFs. And I know, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of women who think the same thing TERFs do, but they just don't speak publicly about it. I mean, you literally have people on the UPenn swimming team. You have women on that team who are afraid to speak out and will not show their faces publicly if they're criticizing Leah Thomas. That's the position we're in. Women are being told to shut up and accept men in their spaces. It's absolutely insane to me. And then he goes on to say, "Listen, Joanne, you don't get to play the victim card when you're the advocate for taking away women's rights here." What he means by that is trans women's rights, not women's rights, biological women's rights. Those are the ones you're seeking to take away, Vaush. It's insane how both people can feel equally justified on each side of this argument, when clearly one is wrong here because one is calling a man a woman. And there's one thing to publicly accept someone as trans or as a trans woman. You call them a woman, maybe even you're okay with using their pronouns. You accept them as living as a woman, but there's a difference between that and making us lie to ourselves and say that they're actual women and allowing men with actual penises into women's prisons, women's shelters. Absolute nonsense. Trans women are raped and killed in men's facilities, and you want to keep them there because of your trauma. Quit making your feelings other people's oppression. Yeah, whatever, Vaush. But think about what's being said here. This is the main reason I made this video. Who is the perpetrator here? Who is the person who's raping people? Who's the group of people raping other people? Men, okay? Obviously, women can rape a man. But the vast majority of cases, it is a man raping a woman. A penis raping a vagina. So it is absolutely the principle of the matter that we keep women's spaces, people, like they like to say now, people with ovaries, humans with vaginas. We want to keep those people separate in a lot of cases from men, especially if it's concerning trauma centers or locker rooms. Why have we steered so far from reality where we can't say that, yes, a trans woman is seeking to live as a woman, but is not actually a woman? Why do we have to lie to ourselves like that? And we're lying to ourselves enough to where now we're allowing biological men with penises, and all they have to do is identify as a woman, and they're allowed into these spaces. Is that what you want? Maybe it is the case that a trans woman has been raped in a men's facility, but that's not a woman's problem. Just because they're trans women doesn't immediately make it a woman's problem that a trans woman is being raped in a facility. And just take the example of prison. It is insane that you would allow a man into a woman's prison because maybe something bad would happen to him at a man's prison. Guess what? Lots of bad things happen to men in men's prison because it's a horrible place to be. And I would much rather be in a woman's prison, and I would say anything to get into a women's prison over a man's prison. And you don't think it's hard for just good-looking men, feminine men in men's prisons? Like, you don't think it's hard for them? You don't think they're raped? Why are we only concerned about trans women? And these are criminal trans women, by the way. Like, yeah, pedophiles are also raped a lot in jail, but we're not super concerned about that. Maybe if someone is transgender or a trans woman and they're a criminal, end up going to jail, they should be in protective custody. That's usually how something like that would work. But we don't switch everything around and make it to where this literally happens in some places in the UK, where people are allowed to just identify as a woman, have a penis, and be in a woman's jail. And women have claimed that they're being sexually assaulted by a transgender person. And when they come out and say this, you have people saying, well, whose word are we supposed to take here? Whose side are we supposed to take? I don't know. Maybe the women in the prison saying they're being raped and not the man with the penis who says he's a woman. How have we steered so off the path of normalcy here? It's insane. But yeah, that is men raping men is the problem here. Men with penises raping either other men or women. And that is what we seek to do when we separate men and women. Men are more violent through history. I know they use the domestic violence statistic to say that women commit domestic violence at just as high rates as men, which is true, but that doesn't take into consideration severity. I mean, domestic violence is considered a slap all the way up to putting someone in the hospital and beating them half to death. So when we're talking about domestic violence, when we're talking about shelters for women, I will fight to my last dying breath to have that place reserved for women, just women, seeking a place separate from the men who have traumatized them. Absolutely insane that we're more concerned about what's happening to a trans woman in a male facility than we are about letting a biological male with a penis into a woman's trauma center. How is that not the more important issue here? It's insane to me. Anyways, that's the tweet. That's what I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.